During these dog days this summer, when the temperatures are in the high 80s to 90s, the humidity is at 70%, and the rain just seems to go around you and never hit the ground, chores in the garden take a major shift. There's not much planting going on. You're still doing maintenance, but you're also clicking into survival mode. With the heat and humidity so oppressive, I only come outside for a few minutes at a time, maybe do 5–10 minutes of work and then go inside and cool off. But I do deadhead, and I'm going to tackle the Centaurea macrophylla, the Armenian basket flower. It is pretty much done flowering. The storm knocked it down. You can see it is coming back up nicely. So I'm going to take the rest of it down because there are some nice phlox behind it that we'll hopefully be able to see once the Centaurea is gone. So we're just going to go in and clip it right down. This will also help the plant greatly in that with as dry as it is, it's not going to be trying to keep all of this foliage wet. So by clipping it down, it's going to be able to concentrate its energy on creating new stems. I think what I might do also is clip some of these, if there's any decent for a little bouquet for in the house, I might do that as well. Now I normally do this every year anyway, so the fact that it's awful dry is not really making my decision to do this. But I want to see the phlox in the background, and they are just about done blooming anyway. And they will put on some nice fresh growth, just like you can see here where we clipped them down earlier after the storm went through. So it'll fill in this empty spot in the garden in just a few weeks. These hollyhocks are almost at the end of their cycle as well, so I am going to clip them down. That looks a little better, a little less scruffy looking. I'm going to take these fringe daisies right down to the ground. There are a couple little buds coming up here and there, but I don't think there's going to be a second bloom on them. So I'm just going to take them right on down. It's a little hot to be gathering cut flowers right now, but I'm going to take them in the house and see if we can put them in a vase and at least enjoy them for a day or two. I don't often do cut flowers. I prefer my flowers to be outside, but when I have a choice of either going in the compost pile or on my kitchen counter, I'll take my kitchen counter. I think it turned out rather cute. We've got some Queen Anne's lace from the roadside. We've got the basket flower, some Nicotiana, and some of the Mystic Blue Salvia. And I think it looks pretty nice right here on my counter to greet me every morning as I get my breakfast. During this hot and dry weather, we have to make some concessions. We are on a well, so we don't have unlimited water. Therefore, the gardens are on their own, as is the lawn. To help the lawn, we do not cut it. We watch the weather. If we know we're going to get a good amount of rain, then we're going to come out and cut. Otherwise, we stay off it. We don't bring the gator out here. I don't even like to bring the wheelbarrow out at this point because it's just crispy and dry. When it comes to watering, I have to be a little bit selective. These are the mini Tonka rhododendrons that I bought. I want to make sure that they get established this year, so I am going to water them in rather well throughout this hot, dry season to make sure that they go into the fall well hydrated and that they'll be on their own next year. These black-eyed Susans that are in the front of the garden, there are annuals that I put in this year, and I am not going to be watering them. They are doing just fine on their own. So I have to do a little bit of selective watering and watch each plant to see how it's doing. The plants that I have here under the porch are 100% dependent upon me watering them. And I can't tell you how nice it is to now have this retractable hose from Link that actually reaches up here onto the porch so that I can water these plants. It's so much easier than doing it a bucket at a time. I do want to get an attachment so I can put my fertilizer on here as well, so I can fertilize and water at the same time. But this hose link has been a game changer. I also have a whole bunch of planters out in the garden, and they also need to be watered on a regular basis. They do get rainwater, but because they're so densely planted, they take up an awful lot of water much quicker than the plants that are in the ground do. So they also require supplemental watering. My homemade self-watering containers are doing fantastic. I can't get over how big the plants are. And right now with this heat, I am probably watering once every 3 days. And all I do to water is I just stand here and hold the hose over the top of the plants until I start to see or hear water coming out of the hole down here at the bottom. Now I did just water these yesterday, so they're not going to take that much water, I don't think. But I just water from the top, making sure that all the soil on top is nice and damp so that the roots that are in that top layer of soil are getting the moisture that they need. And then some of the roots are going down into the water reservoir, which is down below that exit hole where the water comes out. So it might even be coming out now. Nope, not yet. But that's how I know when it's full, when the water starts coming out the hole on the bottom or on the side. And we'll see how long that takes. As I said, right now I'm doing about every 3 days. Before probably, I'm trying to think, maybe 4th of July, I was only watering these pots once a week. But now that the heat is coming out there, can you see the water coming out of the bottom? That tells me that the planter is full of water and I can stop watering. And then I just go and move on to one of the other 34 planters that I have to do. Because the begonias are in the shade, I'm still only watering these guys once a week. I simply set my nozzle to jet, and then I can stand back all the way here and water all the way on the other side. So it probably takes me about 12 minutes to water this whole bed here. Each of these containers are some of my homemade self-watering containers, so there is a water reservoir in the bottom, and that's what I'm trying to make sure is filled up. So again, once the water starts coming out the hole on the side, I know that that planter is full, and I just move on to the next one. Even this area underneath the river birch, I do not supplemental water any of the perennials or shrubs that are in here. They have been here for years and they are on their own. And you can see they are doing just fine. Now some of you may be saying, but I can't get my hostas to grow that nice underneath the trees because the trees suck up all the water and it's very dry. It is very dry under these trees. These hostas aren't as big as they would be if they were in a more damp situation. But the other thing is that these hostas and this tree have grown up together. In all honesty, the hostas were here first. When I originally planted them, it was full sun, and these tree trunks were the size of broomsticks. And they are now, oh goodness, much bigger than a basketball, let me tell you. So they have evolved together. The hostas have learned how to survive a little bit drier while the tree is getting bigger. Now, if I were to try and move these hostas and try and replant them, say I wanted to divide them and put them back in, they would be stunted. They wouldn't be anywhere near as happy as they are. So these hostas are here for good. I won't be dividing any of these. But as I said, I'm watering these begonias about once a week. Because they're more in the shade, they're not going through quite as much water as my other planters. To keep the plants that I have not yet put in the ground, I have some child's wading pools, and I just make sure that there is always about an inch of water in the bottom for them to soak up. That keeps them well hydrated until I can get into the garden to plant them, which probably won't be for another 2 to 3 weeks at this point. And of course, if we get rain, that kind of changes the watering situation a little bit. The hoses don't reach the planters at the front of the garage, so I simply fill up a bucket and pour it in. We have some hard to reach pots that are located at the back of the garden and underneath the gazebo. So we have a spigot here buried inside or hidden inside the garden, and then we have a garden hose that runs right along the ditch out to the back, and that's how we water those plants. So what I need to water here is the goat's beard that I just planted a little while ago. I want to make sure that that stays well hydrated till it gets established. And I'm just going to give my hydrangeas some little water too to be nice. Now, one thing that saves me a lot from watering is that I mulch very heavily with leaves. So let's see, if you get down here, this is wet. It's wet down underneath those. So the leaf mulch is keeping my soil nice and damp underneath, even though the top and areas where it's getting sun is pretty dry. But the leaf mulch is doing its job to keep the roots nice and cool. And those leaves hold a nice amount of moisture. So I couldn't garden the way I do without the leaves. Well, I hope that answered all your questions on how I water during these dog days of summer. The planters get watered once every 3 days at this point. The garden and the lawn is on its own. It's up to Mother Nature to take care of them. Unless it's a plant that is newly planted, in which case I am watering it. So like my mini tonka rhododendrons are getting watered. My hibiscus is getting watered. My hydrangeas are getting watered. Once they're well established, they are on their own and it's up to Mother Nature to take care of them. So I will put a link in how I made my own self-watering containers. There is a video on that. I'll put that somehow in the description or in here so you can click on that to watch it. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any other questions or videos that you would like me to do, please put them in the comments so that I can create a video for what is interesting you guys. So take care, see you in the next one, and stay cool.